Well, has it ever crossed your mind?
There's a reason no one makes videos like me. Because no one wants to live the life I live or be in my head. They would be miserable.
Are you happy?
I'm gonna be honest. So far, more unhappy than happy.
Well, has it ever crossed your mind to quit YouTube as a whole?
Oh yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you?
Mr. Beast!
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast!
He is the biggest YouTuber on the planet.
And he's building empires. I mean, is there anything this man can't do?
Your business empire is much bigger than most people realize.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 26 and we have the largest YouTube channel in the world.
Ça en est assez, on décroche ici.
Well, has it ever crossed your mind to quit YouTube as a whole?
Oh yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you?
Oh boy.
Mr. Beast!
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast!
He is the biggest YouTuber on the planet.
And he's building empires. I mean, is there anything this man can't do?
Your business empire is much bigger than most people realize.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 26 and we have the largest YouTube channel in the world. And Peace Games is gonna shatter some pretty crazy records. And we do 9 figures in Feastables. But a lot of that stems from being a very confused child that's not fitting in, that feels like a freak. Plus, I really wanted to take care of my mom because when I was 11, we literally went bankrupt and lost everything. Luckily, it worked out. And it's because I'm really good at obsessing over one thing more than anyone else on the planet. Like, I lost tens of millions of dollars on these games. But it's about making season 1 as good as possible. And I just really love solving complex problems. Like, how many kids do you think are in child labor in West Africa, just on cocoa farms? It's 1.5 million. And so with Feastables, we were trying to get over 1 million kids out of child labor. But the ironic part is the more I help people, the more I get. Like, I've read over 5,000 messages telling me to kill myself. I mean, there's definitely times where I would cry. But if my mental health was a priority, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. This is the price you have to pay.
But when is enough enough?
Honestly,
This has always blown my mind a little bit. 53% of you that listen to this show regularly haven't yet subscribed to the show. So could I ask you for a favor before we start? If you like the show and you like what we do here and you want to support us, the free, simple way that you can do just that is by hitting the subscribe button. And my commitment to you is if you do that, then I'll do everything in my power, me and my team, to make sure that this show is better for you every single week. We'll listen to your feedback, we'll find the guests that you want me to speak to, and we'll continue to do what we do. Thank you so much. Jimmy, we've really just only met, and you are already, to me, a bit of a Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
In so many ways. And I've been trying to piece the pieces together to understand the uniqueness of you, because you're so unbelievably unique. We just drove over here in the car, and hearing you speak about the way that you view life, and speaking to you yesterday on the phone, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, and I've never ever met someone who has the perspective on life that you have. You are truly unique.
Let's get this show on the road.
What do I need to understand about you years to understand who you are?
Oh boy. Yeah, my earliest years, I'm just stubborn, man. I just never give up. I mean, there's no world where I ever would have quit. We're just jumping right into it. It's a great, no intro or anything, but it's cool. It's like, when I was 11, I just said, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to die trying, and I meant it. There was, even if no one still watches my videos to this day, I would still be going. And so people hate it, but I'm just the most competitive, stubborn person you'll ever meet, and I just never give up.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea, to be honest. Honestly, it feels like it was just in my DNA, in my bloodstream. My mom hated it growing up. We'd always argue, and she has this thing where once Jimmy sets his mind to something, he just never stops, and it would always piss her off because when it was YouTube, she wanted me to be studying or things like that. But I really don't know. It's just always been how I am, and I think a lot of people have these weird tendencies, and they tend to try to unlearn them. And I had phases in my life where I was like, am I too extreme? People are very intimidated by me because I just am so obsessed with work, and I'm so all in, and this is unhealthy. Should I try to be more unlimited, especially when I was a teenager? It's a lot easier. It's funny when you're making lots of money. It's admirable. It's respectable. It's look, those are traits we want. But when you're not successful, you're a lunatic. When you
Locate another target.
So, back then, I'd occasionally be like, man, try to be more normal. But I just could never do it. Anytime I tried to. One of the things that I have a memory of that really burned in my brain is people one time a high schooler told me when I was in middle school all you do is talk about YouTube, do you know how to do anything else, you're just a freak. And I tried to watch South Park, that's what a lot of people in school watch to fit in, and I just couldn't. I was like, this is such a waste of time. I don't I could be working right now. And I tried to do all these things to fit in, and I eventually just stopped talking because I just didn't relate to anyone. And people used to call me mute. One of my teachers literally asked if I was mute, because that's how little I spoke, because no one in the school I went to was entrepreneurial or wanted to build businesses, and I just didn't want to do anything else. And eventually I started to succeed, found other lunatics, and that life's great. But I like to tell this story on podcast, because if you have a younger viewer who's in that same spot, you're not the problem, it's your environment, and you just gotta put yourself in a better environment.
What about your parents, mum and dad? You talk about your mother a lot.
Yeah. No, I don't. I didn't get it from them.
What influence did they both have on you?
Well, I don't really talk about my dad much. That's, a long story. Don't need to get into it. But my mom, honestly, it's great now. Me and my mom have a phenomenal relationship. My mom, it was pretty rough because in 2008 they were over leveraged, so they bankrupt, and so they had properties and they used to get other properties, and then when everything collapsed, they lost basically everything. So my mom was working 2 jobs and barely getting by for me. I didn't see her because I was doing so she was doing her second job. So it was a lot because she was a single mom raising us. She was working all the time. I don't talk about a lot of this. I have Crohn's disease, so I was very sick growing up. My brother also had issues as well, and so we're not the healthiest kids in our teenage year. She's just trying to get by and take care of us, and then she comes home and she just has this brat that's being annoying and I want to be a YouTuber, and she's just begging me. Sometimes she would literally cry and beg me to do homework, and I mean, I was like, I didn't mean it in a mean way, but I mean, even one time I literally told her, if you want my homework done sometime, why don't you just do it? You know, like that's what I told my mom. Like, what am I doing? I don't know. Like, I was just like, I don't care. Like, I just want to be successful. I want to build businesses, and so it was like, bless her heart. Luckily, it worked out. So now I spoil her. She's great. She has her second home. Anything she could ever want, she has. And so the first thing I did was start paying my mom, take care of her once I started making money, because she gave everything to like get me where I am. And I wouldn't be where I am now, but it was like me and her spoke different languages when I was younger. You know, she didn't want me to end up like them, and get screwed and not have much money. And like the path I was going down was just basically like, oh, I'm gonna be a homeless drug addict. And like her brain couldn't compute the world I saw, and my brain couldn't compute the world she saw, and it was constant friction.
Who was looking after you then? If she was busy working and you were at home and your dad's not around, who takes care of you?
Me and my brother, we were just there. I was just making videos.
You're making videos?
Yeah.
What age did that start videos?
I started at 11.
11.
Yeah, so I'm 26 now. I can't really remember life before YouTube. Like, my earliest memories are basically when I started making videos.
You said earlier you don't talk about your dad much.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk about it, but why don't you talk about your father much?
Don't worry about it.
I know your mum has spoken about it.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a tumultuous relationship.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have the best relationship. I mean, that's a topic for another day. Honestly, kind of a sour way to start it off, but yeah, my mom is great.
She used to cry asking you to do your homework.
A lot of things. She would cry because I wouldn't put money away. When we started making money, she thought it was too risky. And I mean, the thing is, nothing she would say was unreasonable. Right? Looking back at it, she was perfectly reasonable in what she was doing. I'm just a deranged lunatic and was way too obsessed with building a business and way too all in. It's very cute. One time she only had, I don't remember, like some month where made like $100,000, and I'm like, okay, perfect. I can spend $100,000 this next month on videos. And she took like 5,000 of it and put it away for me in my own bank account without telling me. But in case I ever went, was over leveraged or went bankrupt like they did, and I found out about it, and she said, please don't take this money. Just let me set aside anything. Stop spending everything on videos. And I was like, no, this is perfect. Now I can spend more. And but to me, I don't really feel risk. If anything, risk excites me, and I have a very high threshold for it. So yeah, we literally weren't communicating in language. But I don't remember what age it was, but eventually after I took enough risks and figured it out, my mom just said to me, you know what, I'm gonna trust you, I have faith, and everything got so much better after that point when she stopped staying up all night worrying about me and worrying whether or not I was making the right decision, when she's just like, Jimmy, I trust you, I know this, you think about this all day, I'm gonna just follow your lead, and our relationship has been perfect ever since then.
If I'd asked 10-year-old Jimmy, how are you doing? What would he have said?
10, I don't know. But if you asked me at 12 or 13, I probably would have been like, fuck, no one watches my videos. I just really want to be a YouTuber. I gotta make this work.
Why did you want to really be a YouTuber? Because kids say that, but the extent to which you said it and the focus that you had on that particular goal of being a YouTuber, because there's many things you could have focused on. You could have been a video game player or whatever, but YouTube is a particularly interesting thing because you're on camera, people are seeing it, there's a metric which decides how successful you are. Was there any element of the on-camera part that was helping to solve for the feeling of isolation that you seem to have at that time?
No.
Was there community?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with just, I found out that when I was at a young age, probably around 11, that there were YouTubers that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And I was just like, oh, that's it.
So it's the money.
Yeah, of course, because back then we didn't have money, and I really wanted to take care of my mom and just my family in general. So it was everything. It was this is what I love doing. I've never had as much joy doing something as I do this. Plus, I could see a path where I could actually retire my mom, take care of her, pay her back for, all the nights she worked so long so we could live comfortably and things like that. So it's just kind of, the thing is, one thing that irks me is when people try to like put someone's motivation into like one little bucket. Like we're very complex creatures, and like, you know, you have a girlfriend. I would never say, oh, you just like her because she's pretty, but you like her because she's pretty, but you probably also like her because she's smart. You probably also like her because, you know, she's fun to be around. She likes similar shows, blah, blah. You probably, if we sat here for 10 hours, you could probably give me 1,000 reasons why you like your girlfriend.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very annoying when people try to put why you like doing a certain job or building a certain business into one bucket. Oh, you just do it because of money. What if I do it because I like money and I enjoy it? And it's a way to do this, and it's a way to communicate with people and community and these other things. You know what I mean? And I think that's a common flaw we try to do. It's like, it's not that simple.
I think it's a lot of people can't understand someone being so relentlessly focused on something with the level of like commitment and sustained commitment that you've shown.
Yeah.
And so,
and I don't know how
you know what I mean?
I agree, because it's very weird, like how, like I have extreme obsession to the point where like I just think about stuff the same. Like for me, it's much easier to think about something 16 hours a day for 7 days straight than it is like to like gear shift constantly. I'm like really good at just obsessing over one thing more than anyone else on the planet. If I were to say what's my superpower, it's that I can just obsess endlessly about something, and I can just have the same thoughts over and over and over and over again. It's very weird. Like it wasn't like it was work for me grinding YouTube for those 10 years or whatever where no one was really watching it. It's just like kind of who I am.
it would have had to have been a deep obsession because you were doing it when no one was really watching or paying attention, but really when the platform was...
There was literally a day when I was 19 or 20 where I woke up, joined a Skype call with my friends where we like reverse engineering, you know, why certain videos do well or whatever. And I remember that call being over 18 hours long. And then I hung up, went to bed, woke back up the next day and instantly got back on the call and picked back. Like that was the level of like hours we were putting in. I mean, I didn't know anything besides just trying to make it happen.
Was there anything else that you showed that level of obsession to?
So at that age, no. I would say from 11 to 15, it was a mix of YouTube and baseball. But when I turned 15, I got Crohn's, and I went from like 190 pounds down to 139. I lost all the muscle I had, and so I was like, all right, I'm not playing baseball in college anymore. So then I was like, fuck it, it's just all in on YouTube, and then up until really Feastables, it was basically just YouTube. Or whatever. I never thought I would find like this kind of love for building. I thought it was specifically video making, but I have found over like the last 2 or 3 years, just in general, I just enjoy entrepreneurship, and I've been really deeply loving getting like obsessed with Feastables and other things. And so, which was very weird. Like when I first started a chocolate company, it was like kind of a side thing. But the more I started to work on it, I got a lot of the same highs I got when I was making videos, just in different ways. And so now I'm like, I know way too much about the chocolate industry. Like, it's pretty crazy. I never imagined I would have put the thousands of hours I've poured into building Feastables. And so I think just in general, I just really love solving consistent, complex, hard problems. I think that's like what gets me out of bed, and like the harder the problems, the more exciting it is.
Consistent, hard problems. I want to talk about that and also Feastables, but you mentioned Crohn's disease there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know what that is and the impact it has on someone's life.
Are you aware of it?
I am, because I had a team member that had it. So in order to help support them at certain times when they had to leave and stuff like that, I got a little bit more aware of what it means and how it impacts you. Could you give me your perspective on that?
Yeah. So Crohn's disease is when your immune system attacks itself. So when I was 15, I just started going to the bathroom 8, 9, 10 times a day, not digesting any food because my GI tract is like literally just attacking itself. It's very weird. Your immune system in your gut, is a foreign invader, and so it just starts attacking itself. Which, if you're just using the bathroom 10 times a day, not digesting food, that's why you drop weight rapidly, and it hurts like crazy because it gets very inflamed, and it feels like someone's stabbing you in the gut with like a knife constantly, but it's really, really bad, which is what I had. So I lost 50 pounds, which is crazy because I was already relatively late. And we were just trying different medicine. And then eventually I'm on a pretty extreme medicine called Remicade, where it just basically you nuke your immune system. Which is why my voice sounds a little off right now because I just got the flu, I got COVID 6 times, I got shingles, like I get sick all the time because for me to have my GI tract stop attacking itself, you basically have to shut down my immune system. So I have like a really weak immune system, so I just get sick all the time. That's why I have like random rashes and things like that. So it's like, it was pretty brutal, to be honest. And then it randomly flares up sometimes. And it just makes you very sick, very tired. Like, I just live life on hard mode, to be honest. Like, if you wake up and you have energy, like, you're already leaps and bounds ahead of me. Like, it makes things way more difficult.
And so you still wake up with some days where you don't have energy,
Of course.
which is really hard to believe for someone who's so productive, for everybody looking at them.
Yeah, you just gotta really love what you do. I mean, and push through it. It's pretty brutal because then you compound that with always being sick. And I mean, yeah, I just spent 4 days in a hospital in South Africa because I got the flu, and it just takes me a lot longer to recover from certain things. So it's brutal, and that's where it's like if I didn't work so much, I would spend more time researching drugs because surely there's a better way to stop it than just destroying my immune system. And ideally, I don't do that deep into my 30s and 40s, so I see it as a little bit of a band-aid. But you know, I've met with the top doctors in the world. So far, they're like, it's just a cancer, and you're just lucky your gut isn't attacking yourself. So, but I don't know. I feel like the medicine to give people Crohn's is kind of silly. And there's I mean, the ultimate solution is they just cut me open and cut out a large part of my GI tract, and then there you go. But you know,
I observed in the team member that I had that had Crohn's, it's just a bit of a mental roller coaster as well because there's a certain unpredictability to it,
exactly.
which makes life.
Oh, it's even worse when you're filming because you got this huge multi-million-dollar set and 200 people waiting on you. And, you know, sometimes you don't know if you're gonna have a flare, but you just gotta go fuck it and just down some caffeine and crank it out.
I got diagnosed with ADHD.
You did?
Yeah, I got diagnosed with ADHD, and it made me think a lot about myself and the way that I am. It's not, I'm not the type of person to like embody the label or think it really means much.
Yeah.
I am just who I am. Have you, are you in any way neurodivergent?
I've been told, yeah, by a doctor I have ADHD. I mean, I'm not surprised because I just sit and obsess over things constantly. But I think I'm happy with however my brain is wired. I don't really care to change it. Like I said, I think one of my greatest superpowers is my obsession, and I think some people would view that as a weakness. But I just like, if you just think about solving problems 3 times more than everyone else, like you're bound to come up with different solutions.
That's one of the things you mentioned earlier. You like solving hard problems consistently. When you think back over the last 10 years of your life and the success you've had solving some of these hard problems, if you were to like break it down into some core components of that you've learned, one of them is obsession that you've said.
Yeah.
What are the others?
I mean, it's all the typical stuff. Like you are obviously who you surround yourself with, and luckily I just got around the right people in my later teenage years because I feed off the energy of the people probably around me. It's so obvious. Like I start to talk like them. I become interested in the things they're interested in. I mean, this is all obvious stuff. I'm sure you've heard a bajillion times. So, but you know, I always have to be protective of the people I'm around because whatever they say is what I start thinking on. And that's what I start obsessing over. And, you know, one of the best things that happened with Feastables is I just reached out to all the fastest growing chocolate companies, all the fastest growing snack businesses and everything, and just became friends with a lot of the founders. And, you know, that's what would have probably taken me 8-9 years to like solve. You know, after 18 months, you know, it's probably one of the top 10 people in the world when it comes to running a chocolate company and understanding it deeply, just because it's just cheat codes.
What about detail? Sweating the small stuff. One of the things that I saw, I was reading that handbook that was leaked on the internet, and one of the things I saw throughout that was this real obsession with the 1% and the small stuff. How do you feel about this, by the way, and all of that stuff?
I wrote that with some of my employees when I was probably 22. So there are some things that I read, I'm like, oh wow, I was an idiot. But for the most part, most of it still stands the test of time. And I do think it's very helpful. You know, what's funny, a lot of CEOs have actually told me that they make their employees read this.
It went around all of our Slack channels. We all read it.
Which is funny because I'm like, damn, I should make an updated version of it so everyone. But yeah, the thing is, it's the core crux of it is like extreme ownership and don't make excuses, and you know, people always. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a lot of DJ from writing that. It was just a different time back then too, because I had no idea what I was doing when I was 21, 22. And I just found that I was constantly teaching people the same things over and over again. And it was always just like, take extreme ownership, take accountability. Like, sure, I guess it was out of your control, but it could have been in your control if you just thought through it more, if you just really cared. And that's what I was just trying to convey in it.
And the other thing that comes through in this, but also in your work, is just this idea, something that I've learned from speaking to you on the phone yesterday, that nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
And watching Beast Games over the last couple of weeks, but also speaking to some of your team, there's clearly this through line in everything that you do of like extreme, what appears to me to be extreme ambition.
Dégâts critiques au moteur.
And it doesn't appear to be extreme ambition to you in the same way that it appears to be extreme ambition to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Moteur est hors service. Sortons de là. Le véhicule
does
est
physics
HS.
allow it? Then yes, it's possible. It just do we want to put the time in? I mean, I feel like people overcomplicate a lot of things.
And is that something you've trained over time, or have you always thought that?
No, I think I've just. It's a good question. I don't know why, but when people tell me I can't do something, I don't know where this came from. It makes me just want to do it more, to be honest. If you tell me I shouldn't do something, that's fine. But if you tell me I can't, then everything in my body just wants to go, fuck you. I obviously can. I don't know if I should, but I can. And then I don't know. It's like the thing is, like, to go viral, you have to do something that's never been done before. I've told this story before of, like, you know, if you're driving down the road and you see a cow, who cares? It's a fucking cow. But if you're driving down the road and you see a purple cow, you're like, you've never seen that before, and it's something you weren't expecting. You're gonna go, holy shit, and you're gonna go tell your friends about it. You're gonna remember that. You'll probably even think about it randomly once every couple of years. Why the fuck was there a purple cow? And it's like, it's the same thing, just one was a little purple. And it, like, you can apply that same, like, analogy to ideas. Like, when you're scrolling through social media to find a video to watch, there's things that, you know, have been done before, you've seen. It's, you know, roughly similar to stuff before. You're just gonna scroll past it. You'll never think about it again. Just like you'll never think about a fucking cow on the side of the road. And then there are ideas that are like the purple cow idea, which is what I try to do, which are things that make you go, what the fuck? I've never seen that. Like, I have to click this, or I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight because, like, why is this video? No way they did this, right? But those typically are very hard, and usually to get that purple cow effect, they've never been done before. And if something's never been done before, there's usually a reason, because it's very fucking hard. So you just kind of have to train yourself to, like, not resent very difficult, complex, hard, original problems and actually run towards them, because those are the ones that, you know, tend to have more of the purple cow effect where people have to watch it. And viewership's very exponential. It's way easier to get 50 million views on one video than it is to get 1 million views on 50 videos, right? And so, and because it, like, kind of goes exponentially, and it's like, you know, pretty winner take all in the top videos, like, you just really have to lean into that purple cow effect, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. If you were to distill, then, say we were coming up with a new How to Succeed in Mr. Beast production handbook now, what would be the top 5, if I was applying for a job with you, what 5 characteristics would I need to demonstrate to be successful?
You gotta be very coachable, because whatever I teach you today is gonna change, you know, a year or two from now. Always learning, always improving. Coachable. A big thing for me is you gotta see the value in working here. Like, you really, this isn't like a job, this is a career. Like, if you don't, you know, realistically see a world where you're working for me in 10 years, then it's pretty hard for me to invest into you at the level I want. Like, I don't like training someone for 6 months. They work here for a year and then I lose them. What I like is I train someone for a year and then I get 9 years of dividends on the back end where they crush at their job, and I'm constantly paying them more because they're becoming more valuable with time. Like, that is like the 8th wonder of the world, is investing heavily in an employee and then they stick around for a decade. You know what I mean? It's like, there are some of my top guys that I spent 3 or 4 years in the trenches with, training and working with. You know, they're like Tyler, who writes a lot of my videos and directs them. I, you know, probably talk to him 5-6 hours a day every day for around 4 years. And now, because I can't spend, he spends 100% of his time writing the videos, directing the videos, obsessed over that. Whereas I could theoretically max spend 5% of my time. So he's going to naturally just shit on me on it because he can spend way more time on it. And it's like, so, you know, I have full faith in him, but the dividends that I get off of him after all those years of pouring all that time and effort into him, and now he knows exactly how I think, what I value, that I don't even really have to communicate with him. Sometimes I can just show up to film and, like, I just trust that it's good, you know. And I have a bunch of people across all my businesses like that it's like, great. And if, you know, in a world where Tyler's still working here 10 years from now, I mean, the amount of value out of someone like that is unfathomable. It is quite literally the 8th wonder of the world for a business, and it's like, that's what I want. But you only get those kinds of people, they see the value for, you know, working for you. So they have to, like, deeply believe, like, the more valuable I become to this company, the more I'll be rewarded. And they, like, actually want to dedicate time to the business. So that's very important, because if I really don't get that vibe, then it's not fair to both of us, because I'm not going to invest in you like I should, because I don't think you're going to be here in 10 years and you're going to feel that, and it's crazy. So coachable, sees the value, obviously obsessed. I just don't like working with mediocre people. I mean, I really just can't stand it. It's the fastest way to make me depressed, is if I have to work with someone who's just not all in and just loves what they do. There's just a lot of, stuff like that I'm sure if you listen to like a Steve Jobs interview or something that he talks about, it's just the typical traits: obsessed, coachable, all in, sees the value.
What is the single worst trait?
Mediocrity. I mean, it's just like, because they're not bad enough when you fire them, but not good. The problem is, like, I mean, and you see it in full effect. Great people just love working with great people. They do, and there's something about being around great people that pulls some kind of animal out of you that just makes you want to do more and push more and believe things aren't possible. And I don't know, when you put me around a bunch of other successful entrepreneurs, I just turn into a different human. And if you put me around, I don't know, a bunch of people who are just running small businesses and don't really care and don't really have much ambition, I'm like two completely different humans. And you see that same thing in full effect. You put a bunch of A players around more A players, they just build off of each other. But you like put 2 or 3 C players amongst a bunch of great people, and they'll start pulling them down. They'll start making them not want to work as much and make work not as fun. And so everyone knows, get rid of the C players, right? Obviously, get rid of people who aren't all in, blah, blah, blah. It's the ones that are like, they're not an A player, but they're not a C player. So it's kind of hard because you still feed off the energy. And if you get enough of them, it just drags the overall culture down. So those are like the worst. I mean, not everyone can be these like world-ending monsters. There are a lot of mundane things. Like, I mean, the book controller in accounting, I mean, probably doesn't have to be the best in the world. But when it comes to like the mission critical things, like making videos and things like that, like just the great people got to be surrounded. Like that's one of your number one jobs as leaders, just to make sure your great people are working with other great people, because that's like the number one reason why people leave jobs isn't money. You know what I mean? It's like number 4 on the list. Don't ask me the list. I don't remember. I just know the number one thing is, do they enjoy who they're working with? And people will leave with their job because they hate working with people way before they'll ever leave because of money.
Have you ever been frustrated that the people you've hired don't match your level of obsession?
No, because I just find the people that do.
Are there people that do?
Oh yeah, there's so many people in my business. I mean, obviously you have to take care of them damn well. Like they're not the kind of people that just make the standard rate, but yeah, like people like Tyler, Klitzner, Russ, people on our editing team. I mean, they're putting in most weeks same amount of hours as me, and they're all in, see the vision. It's like, it's hard to find those kinds of people, but what you do, you gotta treasure them and recognize that they're unicorns.
And you have almost roughly 500 people?
Probably, I think the production company were around 300, Feast was around 100, and then probably another 40, 50 scattered amongst everything else.
Most founders that I speak to describe scaling headcounts as the kind of worst part of the job. More people, more problems, right?
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Especially as someone like you who's a creative at heart and who is very focused and obsessed on, I guess, the show and producing, as you say often, I want to produce the best videos we possibly can. And then all this other shit comes with it. Which is like HR, which every founder I speak to hates.
I mean, yeah, the worst part is I just have this very once in a, I just have a rare opportunity where I have so much attention and so many people watch my content, and I just wish I had more experience with it, because I'm 26 and this is my first real business of every employee milestone we hit. This is my first time hitting it, right? Like when I hit 100 employees, that was my first time getting there. And that was my first time going from 100 to 200, 200, 300. And like, with what I know now, I could have done it so much faster, obviously. And it's just, it's a little brutal because like scaling Feastables from, 0 to 100 was way easier than doing my production company, because I had been through the ringer before and I learned a bunch, and I get better with time. And it's just honestly, the most annoying part is just ignorance, right? Like, there's a lot of mistakes I make. I look back and I'm like, oh, yeah, I probably should have brought in people with more experience working at a larger company earlier here, a little tall in here. I probably should have, and it's just like brutal because if I had known these things, I'd be way further along. But I mean, that's just how you learn. You just gotta make 10,000 mistakes.
Every founder says the same. Every founder I've spoken to says the same. They're unknown unknowns.
Exactly. And it's just like, so that's where, I mean, my big thing recently has just been trying to find people who have successfully scaled businesses and like bring them into my organization and learn from them, because I'm just so tired of like being like, fuck, I should have known better, but I didn't because I've never done this before. And so I'm trying to find a lot of great people who have been through it so they can like kind of mentor me along the way so I make less mistakes, which has been really good. We brought in a new C-suite recently. It's like always a hard balance because I try not to, in the past I've like, you know, decisions are kind of like pendulums, and I have a problem where I'll identify something and I'll overcorrect the pendulum one way, and then I'm like, oh, no, I should have just stopped in the middle. Yeah. And like my overcorrection in the past was like corporate people try to build too many systems and they kill innovation. And so I was very anti like people with too much corporate experience because they're going to just destroy all the creativity. But, you know, that's why we're making so many organizational fuck ups, because we don't have anyone who's actually built the business at this size. And so, you know, the pendulum was on the right and I swung it all the way to the left of no corporate. And now I think we're in the healthy medium where, you know, obviously the people in our C-suite and the leaders should have lots of experience managing people at this size and scale, but it's just finding the right people who can do it and build systems in a way where it doesn't crush creativity and they actually value the product over ease.
The Diary of a CEO, I'm on a TV show called Dragon's Den in the UK, and my stuff is significantly smaller. It's like a percentage of your viewership. But even I am slightly terrified with hiring people, because it's quite clear to me that there's a huge incentive for anyone that I work with to say that I did something bad. And in the early days of my first business, what happens is the journalists go to everyone that works there, and they ask them, what was he like? You have the same problem. You have the same command. But anyone has an incentive that works for you. When they leave, so many different incentives to throw an arrow at you on the way out the door. How do you contend with this?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. You know, I have 400 or 500 people right now, but we've also worked with thousands of people in the past, and so I think it's just what comes with it. But at the end of the day, you know, as long as what we're doing is moral and ethical, like you said, they're gonna throw arrows, but you know, I'm just a problem solver. It's like whenever I see the metaphorical arrow, I just go, you know, what's the problem? And if we did something wrong, how do we fix it? Or if it's not an actual problem, it's just rumors. I mean, it is what it is. And so, yeah, I think it just comes with part of it. I mean, it sucks and it's unfortunate. But you also have to think like most people don't like their jobs too. And so it's not like this is even specific to our industry. Like, you know, just go ask 100 random Americans of all the jobs they worked in their life, how many did they deeply enjoy and would they have nothing negative to say? So I think it's just part of it. You know, it's almost like a pastime for a lot of people just to like trash talk their old jobs or whatever.
Has any of that stuff ever got to you? Any criticism?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, all criticism all the time does, but I mean, the thing is, independent of that kind of stuff, it's just like, I mean, we are averaging like 200 million views a video. Like, you know, like most of it unique viewers. Like we're talking like 2+%, sometimes 3% of humans alive watch every piece of content I put out, you know, depending on how well the channel's doing. And so like, that means like I could upload a video, and then with 365 days later, you could grab 33 random humans anywhere on the planet, especially because we do dubs. You know what's even crazier is YouTube's not in China. So that's like 2 to 3% of humans alive, excluding China. Or China's mixed in there, but if you just take people excluding China, it'd be more like 3 to 4%. But you could just grab 33 random people on the planet, and one of them on average would have seen that video because the views are so fucking high. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of criticism that's thrown at me, and the thing is, you know, since our stuff's so global, sometimes, you know, it transcends culture and not everyone views everything, and so everyone has different opinions and stuff like that, which is why it will drive you crazy at our scale if you try to make people happy. Because even if 99% of people are deeply happy, which is an insane hit rate. Like if you make a piece of content, 99% of people that watch it love it, that is wild, which that kind of stuff doesn't happen. But in our case, if just 1% is unhappy, that's 2 million people, which is more than anyone else even gets on views on videos. So, which will feel like an insurmountable amount of criticism and feedback, and it's very easy to like trick your mind into thinking, damn, everyone hates me, because you just, you know, focus on the 1% instead of the 99. So I just came to the point where, you know, I just have to have my own internal guidelines of like, do I think what I'm doing is good? Do what I think, you know, is moral, ethical? Do I believe in what I'm doing? If so, fuck it. Like, I'm never going to be able to make everyone happy. So and if you let the whims of the internet kind of decide what is okay and what's acceptable, and when you're being bad or good, then you don't have a spine, you don't have a backbone, you stand for nothing, and it will just destroy you mentally. And so, I mean, I don't know what age I was when I kind of got in that mindset, but I just was like, I'm gonna decide, and I'm not gonna let the internet decide, what is okay and what's not. And then ever since I got to that point, people criticize me for something, and I'm like, I don't agree. Then I have it's easy for me to just go, oh well, I don't agree. I'm not gonna make everyone happy. I believe what I'm doing is right, and just move on.
The brain isn't designed for this though.
No, it's not.
This is what I've come to learn. So do the podcast, it goes well. It feels like at the start everyone loves me, and then I get further down the line and it feels like everyone fucking hates me.
Yep.
Because you get attacked from, you can never do anything right. Especially
I've probably read comments or tweets, or I've probably in my lifetime read over 5,000 messages or comments or something telling me to kill myself. I mean, you know what I mean? Just and what would possess someone to tell you to leave a comment where it's like fucking kill yourself, you know what I mean? So agreed, we were not meant to receive this kind of feedback from basically anyone anywhere in the world, you know what I mean? Just all consistently day in and day out for in my case now over a decade.
Has it ever really got to you?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it does all the time, or it used to all the time. Like I said.
What does that mean in reality? If I'm a fly on a wall in one of those moments where you can recall it really getting to you?
I mean, back in the day, but I wasn't as confident in my ability to be successful. And when you're probably 20, you're hiring all these people. I have high risk tolerance, but I'm reinvesting every dollar I make. I'm hiring my friends from school. I hired my mom. These people I really care about are depending on me. And then, I upload a video and it does bad. And then people, I pour all my time and effort into it, but, maybe it doesn't come across as well. And some people might have interpreted it as lazy. Read a comment and like, wow, what a fucking lazy. I thought you made great videos, or this video sucked. And you read that and the video's underperforming and you're like, fuck, maybe I am being too reckless. And, there's definitely times where I would cry, just because I would just be like, fuck, am I not doing this right? Or they don't understand I put a lot of time into this or whatever. Why? Sometimes you're like, fuck, does the algorithm hate me? Am I being suppressed or whatever? Back in the day.
When was the last time that feeling of?
There was a month probably last year where I felt a little bit of that just because, just sometimes occasionally the rumor and drama mill gets spun up, but you just gotta snap out of it. And like I said, just go, I believe in what I'm doing. It's hard because, anytime I do anything good, it's, people are always they try to, we're conditioned in America now. When someone does something good, there's always some ulterior motive. And I've always been straightforward. I said, a world where I help people is just better than a world where I don't. I don't try to come up with this crazy, story of how, someone helped me when I was younger and now I just want to give back and cry. I'm just yeah, I can make viral videos, and I think the world where I do viral videos that help people are better when I don't. Just kind of, that's my answer. But it always does suck when people try to just I don't know. It's funny, the more good you do, the more people think you're secretly evil, and it's why can't I just help people because it's fun, So occasionally those will get to me, and I'll just be like, guys, you don't even know me. You would think sometimes you read, when I build wells in Africa or help blind people see or things like that, you'd read some of these things online, you'd think I'm Hitler. I mean, it's crazy, how people portray it, and I don't know, I wish people just understand that. I've been in a world where I help people is just more fun than a world where I don't, and it's really not that deep.
The people around you, how does it impact them?
Oh, how does the drama and that kind of stuff impact them? To be honest, in my case, I don't think it hits them that hard because most things usually fall on me and people want to go after me because I'm the guy that does good, the philanthropist. So usually I'm the one that gets thrown under the bus a little bit.
It's funny because everyone that knows you. Whether they're really successful people or people that you work with that I've spoken to, everybody that knows who you are. And it's remarkable to me that someone who has done so much good in the world, I've looked at your philanthropy, I know what you're doing with Feastables and the ethical sourcing of that. When I see someone that's done so much good in the world still be misunderstood, it almost makes me realize that I should never fight it.
Yeah, I mean, the ironic part is the more I help people, the more shit I get, to be honest. It's so funny because, the same day I'll drop a video where I'll, help 1,000 blind people see. Some other YouTuber will will drop a video where they just bought a new mansion, and it's like everyone's like, yes, you know, get that mansion, good job, and then they'll be like, fuck you for curing blind people, Jimmy, fuck you, you're using them. And I'm like, no, I just wanted to inspire people to do good. I mean, I can buy a mansion if you really want me to. So it is funny. If you're trying, this is a weird sentence, but if you're trying to be liked, I actually don't recommend you like help people. Like, I actually think helping people will make the internet like you less than if you just like buy nice cars and do like the typical influencer path. It's because we're just so conditioned in America to see it as like a shield, and like no one actually does good because they just find it fun, apparently. But I mean, I don't care. Like I said, it's just more fun than if I didn't. So I mean, people can shit on me for helping people. I don't. It doesn't bother me anymore. But I wouldn't recommend you get into it if you want to be liked. I think it's negatively correlated now.
Interesting.
It is so fascinating. It is. I swear to God, man. Like, I could just I don't know, do these like $1 versus videos where I compare like a $1 boat to a $1 billion boat and all these other things and not help people, and I would just get way less shit. And it's so funny because no one bats an eye when I post that, but when I give hundreds of thousands of people in Africa clean drinking water, it's like all hell breaks loose. Like, guys, I'm just trying to bring attention to a cause. I don't really. But the thing is, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And, I mean, I think in my case, most people have realized I'm not gonna stop, so they're just kind of over, you know, getting mad at me, and they're just like, all right, Jimmy's just being Jimmy.
I think when the wind blows as well, what it does is it helps you to really understand why you're doing what you're doing and understand yourself. And so when I've been attacked for like the people I interview or whatever it might be, it's actually made me refocus on what my principles are. Because you have to be really anchored to them.
It's like I said, you have to know where your line is, and as long as you're on the right side of your line, then it is what it is. People on Twitter can say whatever they want. And I think like that's the only way to really survive at this scale without going crazy. Because you have to determine where the line is, not let the internet.
Workaholism.
Yes.
Can you give me a window into the last 7 days of your life? Just paint me a picture.
Oh, yes. Let me bring some water because my flu. Well, I don't know about the last 7 days, but in general, so we're filming a video where we're doing I'm visiting the 5 most deadliest places on Earth. So one of the places was a safari in South Africa. So I flew to South Africa to spend time in a cage surrounded by lions. Sick content. It was really good. That was a bitch to get to. And then I got the flu, and so spent a couple days in the hospital there. And then we were going to go to Snake Island to spend time there, then the World's Deadliest Road, and then we have a couple other places, but that got postponed. So instead, got out of the hospital, went to Florida, filmed with Aaron Judge, then I went to North Carolina. We have this guy where I built a gym, and I told him if he loses 100 pounds before he leaves the gym, it has a big red circle around it, I'll get a bunch of money. So I filmed with him, and then worked on coming up videos a lot. And then flew to Florida, filmed with Aaron Judge, flew here, just landed, filmed with the reunion that you were at with the contestants for Beast Game. We're doing this podcast. What time is it? Like 1 a.m.?
Just after 1 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m. The latest podcast he's ever done. Lightweight. I always do my podcast at 1 a.m. My last podcast before this was like 4 a.m. Like a couple weeks ago. And then we're flying to San Fran to film with Steph. Then
Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry. Then I think I'm going to Snake Island, then the Deadliest Road. And then I don't think I'll be home for another 16 days. So I'm just traveling around filming for the next 16 days. And then, yeah, I guess then I'll get home and then they'll make me film at home.
How does everything else in your life fit into that in terms of like the gym? I know you've been working out a lot.
It's been brutal. It's gone to shit the last couple of months. It's really killing me, to be honest. It was like so much easier when if you don't travel constantly, life is so easy when you just wake up in your own bed and like waking up in your own bed and working 15 hours in, you know, your office or whatever. So easy compared to like all this fucking bullshit where I'm like, I don't know the time zone I'm in. I don't know what place I'm in. I don't know where I'm going in 2 days. It's like, I mean, some days I'm going to bed at 10 a.m. Other days I'm going to bed at 5 p.m. And it's like, it's a mess. It's really, and I used to put up with it and it's just like, and figure out how to do the training, but it's just, I don't know. I need to, truthfully, whatever's a priority, you'll get done. I just need to make it a priority again. I really do miss it. It's just the hard part is putting Beast games in the mix, because I was already like basically working, you know, whatever, every hour my eyes were awake. But then Beast games is such a monster of a project, and I have to maintain the same YouTube upload schedule, and then I do a lot on Feastables now, and then I have a couple other businesses. So I just honestly, something had to give, and sadly it was working out with everybody. So I need to like reprioritize my life where I can get, I mean, it's only 45 minutes 5 days a week. It doesn't need to be hard. But the bigger problem is I'm just not sleeping like I used to. I got so much going on. So when I hit it hard in the gym and then I don't get enough sleep, then that causes pretty extreme fatigue the next day. So it's like I gotta fix the sleep first before that. But yeah, it's got a lot going on, to be honest. I'm dying.
How are you feeling?
Right now, honestly fine. I'm jacked up on all that caffeine.
I mean, just in this feast, you know.
The flu's not helping. It's making everything like 30% better. So, you know, it's like life's like a roller coaster. There are going to be moments where, like right now, I'm going to answer this negatively, but I don't want someone to think that's indicative of like, oh, every time it's going to be it. But because of the flu and the lack of sleep, I mean, I'm struggling at the moment. Just a lot of grinding. A little happy because we just dropped the ending of this game. So it's like a little bit of emotional high, but after this, I'm probably going to go crash and be tired as fuck in the morning tomorrow, which I hate. But yeah, I would say I'm on like the lower end. I could use a couple good days to bring the energy back.
Quick one. I want to talk about something we all need to take seriously, which is cybersecurity. Whether you're a first-time founder facing your very first audit or a seasoned professional who's been through it all, staying compliant is getting more critical than ever, I have to say. And that is where Vanta comes in, who is a sponsor of this podcast. Vanta takes the pain out of security compliance, automating the tedious but essential process of keeping your business secure across over 35 frameworks like SOC 2, ISO 27001. Centralize your workflows, answer security questions up to 5 times faster, and protect your business while losing focus on growth. And this is really a critical part of this. A new IDC white paper found that companies using Vanta save $535,000 a year, and it pays for itself in just 3 months. For a limited time, my community gets $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/Steve. That's vanta.com/Steve. How do you think about mental health? How do you speak about mental health?
Yeah, I don't. Well, the thing is, here's the problem. Like, it's if my mental health was a priority, I wouldn't be successful as I am. I mean, that's just like a sad fact. Like, I obviously never would have buried myself alive for 7 days. 7 days of solitary, 7 days on a desert island, 7 days. Blah blah. It's like, you know, being consistently uncomfortable and like being able to consistently suffer over long periods is like arguably one of the deepest modes. Like, there's a reason no one makes videos like not even close, because no one wants to live the life I live. I mean, there are months where I'm, you know, I think there was 1 year where I was flying like 200 days, like I was on a plane. I mean, it was a fuck fest. But you know, to get these videos done and I do everything, and it's like, you know, when I wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna be pretty fucking tired and feel like shit, I'm gonna go, you know, something I always tell myself is, how you feel right now is why no one else does what you want to do or does what you do. And if you push through this, that's just even, you know, more of a reason why no one will ever believe who you are. And so it's like, I think being able to push through unhappiness and do things you don't want to do consistently year after year over the course of a decade is like the ultimate advantage. Like, I mean, I think we'll get 1 billion subscribers, and I don't think anyone will be anywhere near close, because like, once you make a couple $1 million, why would you live the life I live? Like, why? Why would you not take the job? Why would you not film locally? It means less people be on the right time schedule. Why would you not, you know, prioritize your sanity and that kind of stuff? It makes no sense, but that's why no one else does it.
You spoke to Colin and some of you guys that I met recently.
Yeah,
They're great. Great guys. And you said to them, I'm miserable a lot of the time. I have mental breakdowns every other week.
Yeah, I think I've gotten a little better. Mental breakdown sounds extreme. It's more, I'm like, fuck, why am I doing this? This is so fucking hard. It's just a lot, man. You're just going constantly. It's like, what's funny is I think I said that years ago, but that was back when all I was really was doing YouTube. Now I run this chocolate company, and we have the show, and we have a couple other stuff. So I think the hardest part really is gear shifting. Like, and so I try to bucket these things correct. Like, if I'm on set, you know, and I have a 15-hour film day, like ideally the things I'm doing in between filming are like related to main channel, because I'm in the frame of mind of that. And that's one thing that's really helped me not feel like my head's gonna explode. Like, if I'm in Chicago at the Feastables office and we're going to Feastables Market, like that constant gear shifting, yeah, it'll make my fucking head hurt if I'm like bouncing around too much. It's also just very not core to who I am. I love obsessing over certain things, and I find, obsessing over things within a business isn't like switching back and forth between marketing and product in a same business is pretty easy. There's a long way of saying, like, one thing that's helped with that is like just really organizing my schedule in a way where it allows my natural state of mind to like obsess over a certain business, finish that, and then move on to the next one. Whereas before it used to be like 30 gear switches a day, and that's just not even fun, to be honest.
I heard Elon Musk, who I know someone you spoke about quite often, also someone that I speak about quite often. I heard him say when he was on Joe Rogan that you wouldn't want to be in my head. And I think Joe Rogan asked him if he was happy or something, and he doesn't even like consider the question to be important.
Yeah.
So 2 questions there. Do you think the average person would like to be in your head? And secondly, are you happy?
Well, no, the average person does not want to live the life I live in my head. They would be miserable because they're just working all the time, and they would probably just ask themselves, why am I working all the time? Why don't I do literally anything else? I mean, because obviously I'm not a robot. There are times where I'm like, fuck, I really want to play this strategy board game. I want to do this thing. And I look at the schedule and I'm like, oh, maybe I can do that in 4 days. And the hard thing is you really have to like be delicate with the framing of your mind, because it's very easy in moments like that to go, fuck, I'm like a zoo animal. Like I don't have free will. I'm like a little robot to my businesses, and like and so you have to like be very careful, and sometimes those emotions take over, and especially because I'm a very defiant kind of guy, and I'm like, but I really want to do this thing, but I can't, because I gotta go film this video, and I gotta do this, and I gotta speak at this conference, and I gotta do this networking thing, and blah blah. And so yeah, I think most people, when that feeling comes up of like, am I just a fucking animal, like do I have any free will, they would probably get very depressed. But I've been able to like work through those, and just I always try to, your brain, you just gotta control your thoughts. Be like, well, this is the life I chose. This is, you want success. You want to change the world. You want to do this and this. This is the price you have to pay. You should actually see this as a good thing, because which is why I'm very diligent about how I frame things in my mind. Like, this is why no one else will do what you will do, and this is a good thing. This is what you are feeling right now is your moat. You're lucky it's hard. Push through it, and you'll be happy you did. And so that's kind of how I try to view it. But no, I don't think most people would be happy living my life. They would be like, oh, let's just grab a couple $1 million and be happy.
Are you happy?
It depends what day you ask me. Right now I'm having a good time. When I had the flu in Africa sitting in a cage with lions, fuck no. So
What's your baseline? How would you describe your baseline?
probably this year, probably so far more unhappy than happy. And it's just, they're just things you got to do that just aren't fun, but I think I really deeply enjoy working on Feastables, and I'm trying to spend more of my time building it. The problem is it's just opportunity cost, because I'm the only one who can be in front of the camera and film. And that's what's like brutal, especially with Beast Games, is I'm just filming so much. It added so much shit to my yearly filming, like doing this giant show on top of already having the largest YouTube channel in the world. And I was already filming some months, 25 days a month. So I'm just like, that's just the rough part, is because it's like, it just all rests on my shoulders. And if I don't film, there is no content. Like, the channel just literally ceases, like, if I stop filming. And so, I have found more and more that I'm finding more joy in entrepreneurial things and building businesses. And I do think I'd be happier if I could spend more time doing that. But it's just like weird, because I could literally hire anyone in the world to do that. Whereas I can't hire anyone to replace me on camera.